Hello and welcome back to the game room. You know what I love? Video games. You know what I love? Talking about games. And it seems like a lot of people these days who cover games seem to hate them. Or at least the people who play them. Well, that's not me. And that's not the 5,004 of you beautiful people checking out this video here today. We did it. I didn't even know we did it until I sat down to film this video. I thought I was at 4,996, but boom, something happened. Thank you guys so much. I cannot believe it. 5,000 subs is insane. I'm not going to bury the lead. As you can tell, this is not my normal video. I actually went to the first convention I've gone to in what might be 8 years or so, at least since COVID, as the RGX Roseville Gaming Expo is in my backyard. I always mention my local game store, that is Fire and Ice Games. And so I went there, had a blast both days. My wife came, my daughter came. I even was recognized by one of the guests at the expo, Wrecked Wizard. I hope you're listening to this while you're commuting, because I love you, brother, and thank you so much for all the kind words. Loved meeting you. It was truly one of the best moments I've had in YouTube, having someone come up to me, double my YouTube subscribers, a guest at a freaking show, and super excited to meet me. And man, I was glad to meet you as well, my friend. That was awesome. So I figured let's go ahead and look at all this money I spent that I don't have. Remember when I said how I lost my job? Well, this was technically a signing bonus, so I figured, hey, let's splurge a little bit here. Let's get some stuff for the channel as well as just stuff in general. So this is going to be more than 10 games, but if that sounds interesting to you, let's check it out. There's a lot of games out there, some of which you've never even heard of. That's where I come in. My name's Luke. I've been playing games since the age of 2, and I have no life.
This is my game room.
Alright, so I had a blast at the expo. What was nice is that because I go to the swap meets at Fire and Ice all the time, a lot of the vendors that were there at the expo, I've had a pre-existing relationship with. Though some of the other ones were just in general located in California, seeing as how this was the expo that was made by the people from Sacramento Gaming Expo in conjunction with Fire and Ice, so a lot of that crowd came by, some of which I knew, such as Jason Morehouse from Nostalgia Alley and all this, and I had an absolute blast. So to everyone I purchased from, thank you guys so much if you see this. To the people I met, it was such a pleasure. I really enjoyed myself, and I know my family did too. So let's get to the games. I'll try and do this in chronological order. Ironically, the first game I picked up was a Wii game. And this is one that I had on my list. So I typically, I mean, I don't really have a method. I just figured I'd go into this convention with some games on a short list, see if I could find them. And one of the ones I found pretty early on was Juon the Grudge Haunted House Simulator. Now, I am not a scary game person. I say that to death. What I am, though, is I like having obscure, rare, and uncommon games. The Wii is something I've been focusing on. I picked up a couple of uncommon Wii games, and I know this is one of those ones that you just do not see. And it seemed like something that would be a lot of fun to have Jen play during Halloween. When I showed it to her, she thought, this is disgusting. Why am I married to you? Let's go play that. And so I think that'll be fun to do. I know it's not a great game. I believe it's a jump scare simulator. But I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. It is complete. I picked it up. I want to say I got this for 80 bucks. Like I said, the guy I bought it off of, I have bought stuff from before. So never be afraid to wheel and deal. I brought cash because that is so much easier than having to do credit card processing fees, as well as you can basically just get the transaction there and then. Don't have to worry about any sort of chargebacks. So that was my tip. I did not pay full price for any of this. You know, it might be more than what it goes for on price charting, but we'll get to that. But yes. This was one of the ones I had on my list, and I snagged it early on, so I was pretty stoked to get that one down. Moving after Juon the Grudge, I did find a game that I can't remember where I first heard it or saw it, but I saw it at someone's booth. and I just thought I had to have it. It was priced, I want to say 25. I knew I wanted to hit the guy at 20, but I was looking to bundle it up. But that game is Rogue Galaxy. So this is a PS2 turn-based RPG. Takes place with pirates in space, and honestly, that's all I know about it. Unlike my usual videos, guys, I have not played any of these, so this might be a little faster than usual, but I just wanted to kind of share the gets because the getting was good, especially for people looking for Xbox 360. I was wishing people would come up to me wanting suggestions because I found copies of Enslaved, Remember Me, Venetica, Velvet Assassin, Tornado Outbreak. All these games were going for great deals too. Nothing like the FOMO of last year. None of that, and especially if you just want to have the games like I do. It was great. There was so much good stuff to go around. But yes, Rogue Galaxy, I managed to bundle this up, got it for $20. The game I bundled it up with was Turok Evolution on the GBA. Now, unlike the PS2 GameCube versions, I believe the GBA version is different. That happened a lot with GBA ports of the time, is that the regular game might be a first-person shooter, and then this was sort of a side-scroller. At least I think so. I don't remember. I have a bunch of GBA games I've written down over the years in my games to look for list. So there's this one, there's Medal of Honor Infiltrator, there's the Frogger game, so I can't quite remember why I put it down, but I think that's kind of how this one is. But this was listed for $25 too. Bundled the two of them together. I believe I got it for $40. I could be wrong, but that's what I think I got. But yes, another good one that I was getting. It was nice. I pretty much stuck to games I wanted, though the two main games, or not two, but two of the main games I was looking for was Dune, the Battle of Arrakis on the Genesis, and then Firewatch on the PS4, which to this day I regret not buying that damn thing just because at the time I had bought so many limited run games. I think they did that release in maybe 2017, 2018. Right when I stopped, I thought, okay, you know what? I'm done getting all these. I already bought Firewatch. I have it digitally. I'm good. I'll get it sometime down the line because none of these games really went up in value. And of course, it's the one that's shot to the moon. It's like $200. So I couldn't find those games anywhere. Day one, day two, I spend my last $20, and what do you know it? The vendor at the very front that I must not have done a thorough enough job on had both of them. So I was pissed off about that. But hey, what are you going to do? All right, so after I got Rogue Galaxy and Turok Evolution, that is when I stumbled across one of the games I was looking for my daughter. So my daughter loves Goofy. And I knew of Goof Troop, but I was not aware of any other Goofy-related games out there. So before we left for the convention, I just did a quick Google search and said, are there any other Goofy games? I think I did it on Price Charting or somewhere. And lo and behold, there's two. There's a PS1 game, and then there's a Genesis game called Goofy's Historical Tour. So I stumbled across this from a guy who has a game store, I want to say in Stockton or Modesto or something like that. And really, really nice guy. Loved talking to him. And he had collected all the Disney Genesis games, and I highly suspect this might be from his collection because it is super clean. It was listed for $33. I wasn't going to try and haggle him too much because we were looking for this. I handed it immediately to my daughter, and I think I asked if you do $30. He said yes, so that was a great deal. And ironically, I did not remember this, but John Riggs and Metal Jesus were there, and we go way back. I used to talk to them all the time, circa 2015, 2016, and at the convention scene, especially John. And he apparently had covered this game with Jason years ago or a while ago. I completely forgot. And so not only is this a Goofy game that my daughter desperately wanted, but it's actually a decent game. I mean, looking at the name of the game, I thought it was just going to be some stupid, Mario fun with letters or something like that. But no, it looks like it's actually pretty decent, and I'm kind of stoked to check this one out. Was not able to find the PS1 game, which I think was a racing game. I can't remember. I'll have to look at what that was. It was like a mini game thing. But glad to have the far better one, looking one, as far as what they are. And then, of course, Goof Troop is amazing too. All right, so that was some big get. Now, after this, I ran across my buddy Jason Morehouse booth from Nostalgia Alley. Now, Jason, I was in the Bay Area Retro Gamers group where I used to always see the posts there, interact there back in around 2016 to 2020. Once I moved to Roseville, I kind of dropped off of that. But one of the things I did is I had a bunch of duplicates, and during COVID, like right when COVID was starting to wind down a little bit, but not really, here in California, it lasted far longer. I drove out to his store in Marin. This was around, I want to say, the end of 2020, and I traded in all my duplicates. That's where I got my copy of Parasite Eve 2, my copy of ActRaiser 2, my box for Conker's Bad Fur Day. And it just, we didn't recognize each other. It'd been 5 years. So when I got there, he had a bunch of sealed PS1 games. And not just regular like really good, like Vanguard, Bandits, Alundra, stuff like that. And of course, one of the games I was looking for was Shadow Tower. So Shadow Tower, I did not even know existed until I saw RNG Gamer cover it earlier this year, and then he played it, said it was hard, said it wasn't the greatest of games. It's a spin-off of the Kingsfield series, which even the Kingsfield series is pretty obscure. It is From Software's original Dark Souls type attempt, and then Shadow Tower was a spin-off of that. And so Shadow Tower, along with Dune and Firewatch, those were the big three games I was looking for. And then Crusader Senti. Like that, I brought a decent amount of money. I'm like, all right, you know what? If I find one of these, I might pull the trigger on it. And of course, the copy of Shadow Tower he had was also one of those sealed games. At least it was, until we cut a deal on it, which involved me opening it live at the con on camera, which was helped by the legendary Mr. Rightway, who I wanted to meet anyway. So what a cool dream come true for me. I got the game I wanted at pretty much CIB price. It was a brand new copy, and I got to stick it to all those sealed collectors by opening it, which, yeah, I don't care. I opened my games. I wanted to play it. And yes, I have a clean copy, freshly unsealed, of Shadow Tower. And of course, now that it's so nice, it's been so long since I've had a brand new PS1 jewel case that I'm freaking out about putting it on top of other PS1 games so it doesn't get scuffed. But yeah, it's brand new, got the reg card, all this. It likely was a promotional copy. That's probably where you got all of these. I know my buddy Artur's wife, who worked at PlayStation, there was these rooms that just had a bunch of these promotional copies of random games lying around. One of which was Firewatch, which, damn it, I should have bought it off him back then. It was only like $100 sold. Anyways, yes. So I got a copy of Shadow Tower. I made a scene. We unsealed it. I probably made all those sealed collectors throw up and think we could have graded it, made it worth so much more. But hey, this thing brand new goes like $500-700. How often do you get to see someone open that? And I did not pay anywhere near that. So we had a good deal. He was happy. I'm happy. I'm sure I'll regret it once I start playing it and it's not great. But hey, this is what you live for. I like having obscure, random PS1 titles. I like the provenance of it. It's nice that it also had that little extra sizzle with it. And hey, you know, I'll play it, see what it's like, see if I can get through it. I hear it's really, really hard. So yeah, wish me luck. But that was probably the highlight of the con. My wife wisely stepped away while I was negotiating this. And also, big props to Ryan from Fire and Ice, the owner of Fire and Ice, because he also helped talk Jason into it. So I owe him for that. Maybe he just wanted less sealed games out there since he's a sealed collector. So it raised the value of his stuff. But either way, thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. But yeah, my wife left knowing, and then she heard me laughing. I guess I have this characteristic laugh, and the first thing she was like, oh, he bought it. I'm sorry, hon. But yes, we have this freshly unsealed copy of Shadow Tower, and I couldn't be happier. Okay, so after that, I pretty much blew through most of my funds on that purchase. That was the big purchase. I did find a copy of Crusader of Senti for a decent deal right at the next booth at that point. But I couldn't go back to back that hard. I was highly considering it, and in my consideration, it sold that same day, if you can believe it. Like that's what happens when you find these good deals. But that was the extent of my first pass. I believe that was my first pass. Then I picked up one more game off of John Riggs, as I always like to support him. I've gotten a bunch of his stuff from back in the day, but I haven't gotten anything recently. And so I saw a copy of OJRC Pro-Am. And I know it's a stupid joke, but I had to get this. My wife likes RC Pro-Am as well, so I figured it was something fun to have. And the white cartridge looks nice too, so this is a nice little conversation piece. Loved picking it up. All right, so that was the extent of my first pass. So then I went into my second pass on day one. So at that point, there was a copy of a game I had seen that Jen introduced me to when she looked for games for me for my birthday last year. Because when I was looking for a bunch of RPGs on the 360 or that era, I basically told her, hey, look for RPGs that came out circa 2006 to 2010, because I missed out on a lot of those. And one of the ones she found on a list or found somewhere, but she didn't find a copy of it, was a game that came out on the PS2 and on the Wii, and I wanted the PS2 version, and that game is Baroque. And I did not go Baroque picking this up. Sorry for the dad joke. Yes, I was very excited to find this. Now, there is one caveat. There is no manual, but the guy took that into account, gave me a screaming deal on it. I paid very, very well under what they were asking. I guess the price had kind of cratered. It was originally listed for around $70, but I think I got it around $35, something like that. Like, I got a great deal on this. Thank you to that vendor. I wanted to buy more there, but I just, after you get something like that, you kind of blow your wad, so I had to be a little bit more picky and choosy from there. But this is a game I've had my eye on ever since Jen showed it to me. I know that there's a debate out there on which one to get over this one or the Wii one. The Wii one kind of looks better, but I hear the PS2 one controls better. And as someone that's not a fan of tank control, or I love tank control, not a fan of motion controls, I just didn't want to deal with it. So I picked up Baroque. That was a good one. And then this was one I was super stoked to find too. You know what? This might have been in my past one. I might have messed up. I might have gotten this before Baroque. It might have been the last game I picked up. So I've gotten a lot of the games on the 360. There's a very select few that I have not found. One of which being Armored Core 5. And then the other one being Armored Core 5 Verdict Day. So I managed to find this. A great guy who was there with his family. They had their games just labeled by colored stickers, unless it was a super expensive game and then it had a green sticker and then an exact price. But I love vendors like this because they're not nickel and diming you. And you can see that some games may have had a $50 price tag, went to a $40 price tag to $30. So you can see sort of the trajectory of them. Just, they're trying to get, they're trying to make deals, trying to get things out. And I was trying to buy more off him. He had a lot of PS4 stock, a lot of other good things that I found in day two. But I just couldn't bundle it up with anything else. But he managed to cut me a great deal on this. I think they had it listed for $60. I offered him $40. He had seen I was there with my wife and child and said, you know what, I'll do a deal for a family man. Thank you so much. And also, I forgot. I thought there was no manual in it, but this is a game where the manual is in the case. So it actually is CIB. It's not missing the manual, which I stumped myself. I was giving him a hard time because it had no manual. It doesn't come with one. I thought it was the other one. But yes, this is one I'm very much excited to do and look at. Now that I picked up a few more Xbox 360 games, maybe we can squeeze out another one. I really wanted to go and buy some 360 at this convention, but all the good ones I found, I already had, and then I just couldn't get up to buying Castlevania Lords of Shadow or Black Side or things like that. I'm very happy to get this one. And then the next one I got from a vendor that I had seen at all the swap meets at Fire and Ice. I just have never been able to find anything at his booth. And they're nicest people, love talking to them, and they just happened to have a copy of one of the other 360 games I needed, and that was Saw 2, Flesh and Blood. Now, it's funny, these games used to get lambasted and said they were terrible, and then now people say they're not too bad. It's another complete game. I think he had it listed for $60. I hit him at $50. He said, can I get a picture of you? Which a lot of these people were doing, posting on their Instagram. By all means, take pictures of me. I got no problem with that. Do you not see me on camera all the time? But yes, Saw 2, now I just need Saw 1. I think as far as the other 360 games go, that aren't just rando games like the the NFL breast cancer cover, slipcover thing like that. I got almost all of them. And then, you know, like the F1 or Audubon Polizia, which I didn't see that. I probably would have pulled the trigger on that one. But yes, happy to have this. Another horror game, another one where my wife looked at me like, please do not bring this into our house, you moron. But, hey, we'll talk about this when we cover Armored Core. Happy to have it in the collection. And then we're coming down, wrapping up on the end of day 1. I think I had 1 or 2 more purchases. So this is in the middle of doing round 2. At this point, we had lunch. We were ready to go. And this one guy had a bunch of Japanese imports. And I was looking for Rudra no Hiho. That's Rudra no Hiho. That's Treasure of the Rudras in Japanese, the Japanese game that came out. I love it. It's like a Final Fantasy, but not. And this guy's booth, something caught my eye, and I'm glad I pulled it because I was not looking at much 3DS games, and he had it listed for $65. And that game is Culdcept Revolt. So, famously, I fell in love with Culdcept Saga last year. I could not get enough of it, played 70 hours of it. It was my most played game last year. And the only other one I believe to get released in North America, because I'm not sure if Culdcept on the PS2 was. It might have been. But I know this one was very, very hard to find, and I managed to talk the guy down to $50. It was the end of day 1. He wanted to get something out at $45. I can't remember. I got a deal on it, as I try to do. Cash money, let's go. Maybe I even offered him $40. But this is one that, on the 3DS, yes, I could see myself really getting down with this. Hopefully there's some way to play 3DS games on a TV down the line. It doesn't require an expensive consolization, but I'm sure I'll figure out something. But this might just be something fun to try because I really, really enjoyed Culdcept Saga. And knowing that this one is complete is a game that I'm sure I would regret not getting if this one ever explodes like Culdcept Saga did, which I did see a copy of that. There was a vendor who had a copy of it for $85. It was in great condition. That guy's whole booth was great. Found a copy of Saturday Morning RPG. It just, all of this happened on day 2 after I spent the majority of what I had on Shadow Tower, and I had to be a little bit more judicious, but was very, very happy to get Culdcept Revolt. If I do another 3DS video, I'll talk about this one. And then the last game I got on day 1 was another one I was chasing down for my daughter. So there was a vendor there who had a Toys R Us t-shirt on and was an actual authentic Toys R Us shirt. They had a couple of them for sale, and I was looking for this all day, kinda, not super looking for it, but looking for it, and that was Donkey Kong, just the original black box Donkey Kong. And the reason why is that my wife got me these coasters a long time ago here, and they all have original NES artwork on it. So you have Duck Hunt, Metroid, Mario Brothers 3, etc. And my daughter would come in here and play with them in the game room, and then she'd pull up, oh, where's this game? And then I'd pull the game off the shelf, and she's like, oh, that's great. And then she'd be like, okay, where's this game? And so on and so forth. But when she went through and she was like, where's this game? I have to be like, I don't have it. And so, of course, she'd be like, well, we got to get that for you. We got to get that one. So I managed to find this. It was listed for $30. It's the 5-screw variant, which I don't know if that changes things. I offered the guy $20. He was willing to take it. Thank you, sir, very much. Not gonna question on that. And now, the next time she asks me, where is this coaster, I can then pull this out. Yep. Silly things like that, but that's what we do, and I was very, very happy to get that. So that was the end of day 1. So day 1, I came in very, very hard. I basically went through 80% of what I had budgeted, and the majority of that went to Shadow Tower. But hey, not gonna complain. That made for a great moment. One of my favorite moments at a convention. Nice way to meet Mr. Rightway as well. If you want to see, he's gonna be putting out a video about RGX, and I'm sure that'll be something in there. So we'll see. But day 2. So day 2, I had a lot less to play with, so I wanted to be very thorough. I passed on a lot of things I wanted, but one of the games I did find, it was like $12. I hit him at $10. That is Endless Ocean. This game just intrigues me. I don't know if it's just me being interested in submarine games, underwater games, they don't ever really work all that right. But something about this series this made me really interested in checking it out. So I not only picked up Endless Ocean, I recently picked up the sequel on the Wii, and then I even picked up the one that just came out on the Switch as well, just because I want to see what it's like. I mean, from what I've heard, you're just swimming around, but I don't know, it seems like it might be fun. So I got this for $10. It's in good shape. The case is in good shape. Can't complain. You know, these Wii games, it's hard to stay this pure white. So I picked up a couple of Wii, not gonna lie. It's nice. I enjoy my Wii collection. It's been nice picking up some games for it. And so after that, then I really was debating. I found a copy of Midnight Resistance, where a guy was willing to come down to $80 complete, which is basically asking price, but he had it listed for $150, so it felt like a deal. And then I got back to that vendor who I got Armored Core Verdict Day from. Now, he wasn't there, but he had a box of handheld games, and my wife loves handheld games. And so I got 4 games. I bundled them together. I hit him at $100 for it, which the value on these was around $140-ish, at least what he had on them. And he hit me at $110, and I said, pay the man. That is a good deal. I'm not going to complain. He was willing to work with me. And all 4 of these were ones that either I'd been trying to get or was one that just really intrigued me. So the first one I picked up, Onimusha Tactics. So Onimusha Tactics, I love tactics games. This was another one. I don't know if Avalanche Jared introduced me to it or how it came across my desk, but this was one of the ones that's been on my GBA list, where I got Shining Soul 1 and 2. This one I have seen at the local game store. I just didn't pull the trigger on it, and I'm glad I didn't, because I got it for a great deal on this. I think he had it listed at $50, and with the wheeling and dealing, if you get it down, I got it for around probably $40. The next one I picked up, I thought I needed Final Fantasy Legends 2, but that's actually the one I have. So he had a copy of Final Fantasy Legends 3. He had it listed for $30. That's around where it goes for. So bundle it up. Managed to get a few dollars off of it. And I know this is the Saga Frontier series, I believe. And I don't know. I don't know why I'm getting these. I know that there's going to be something I probably enjoy. I loved Final Fantasy Adventure. I have Legends 2. I have Legends 3 now. Now I just got to get Legends 1. And then the other 2 games I got off him, one of which is one I've just been dancing around getting this for years. I know there are people who love this series. I think it has an internal clock in it that counts down in real time. That's one of the fun things of it. That is Golden Sun. So there's 2 Golden Suns. For the longest time, I've been just looking for one of them. So I got this one, and I'll be able to get the sequel now and finally join in on the hype and see what these games are all about. And then the last game I picked up, I feel like I have seen it somewhere because it looked very familiar. It is from the Wizards and Warriors series. So I wonder if that means Rare was involved with it, because I know they did some of them. But it's a Game Boy game called Fortress of Fear. And it's got this badass looking Fabio guy. There's a dragon in the background, some cool snakes. I pulled it up on my phone to look at it. It looks like a side-scrolling platformer. And you know what? It normally goes for around $15, $20. They had it listed for $20. So bundle it up. I got all 4 of these games for a screaming deal, considering what they usually go for. I mean, Final Fantasy Legends 3, and then Onimusha Tactics, Golden Sun, that's $110 right there. You know, easily more than that. So, very happy with that bundle deal. And after that, I was pretty much tapped out. I had about $20 left to my name. But I was still on the hunt. Never give up. Never surrender. And there was a copy of a game listed for $5 that I think Legally Insane Gamer talked about. And so for $5, I need games to talk about in the 360. I figured I'd give it a shot, and that is Up, which apparently this is decent from what I've heard. I don't know. Maybe it was a mistake, but I'm willing to give it a shot for $5. If it has that very emotional beginning too, that'd be cool. And it's just another Disney game that likely would be safe to play with the kids. It says it's 2-player co-op, so who knows? Something that me and my kid could play eventually, or me and Jen. So that was one I wanted to grab. I bundled that up with a copy of Area 51 on the PS1. I've been dodging picking this game up since the 90s. I loved the gun arcade game, and I've just always seen it. I remember seeing it in EBX. I remember seeing it at Toys R Us. I never pulled the trigger on it. I've seen it at various game stores all over. I just never pulled the trigger on it, and I was just trying to bundle a deal up together to get everything. And it's fine. You know what? Let's do it. So I grabbed that. I think he had it listed for 15. And then lastly, I wanted to get another game I thought my daughter and wife might like. So they had something called Walt Disney Magic Racing Tour. Now this is on a bunch of different consoles. I think there's a Genesis version, Super Nintendo, or any, or no, like Game Gear, that kind of thing. Maybe N64, whatever. Game Boy Color, because my wife, I wanted to get some more GBA games for her to check out. So this one might be terrible, but I bundled it up. Usually goes about $6, so what do you know? Throw that one in there. That's it. Those are all the games I foolishly spent way too much money on at RGX. I had such a blast. My goodness. All the props to the people at Fire and Ice, Ryan, my buddy Lee, all those guys. Thank you for putting on such a great show. And then, of course, the Sacramento Gamers Expo, because they were involved heavily, too, as their show mainly. And yeah, I'm going to have to check that one out next. It was nice going to a convention. It's great seeing old friends, great making new friends. And yeah, I know this is a little different than the videos I've been doing recently. I'm just so stoked to hit 5,000 subs. Cannot thank you guys enough. Thank you for sticking with me through all the years. To the people who have been here for a decade, and to all the newcomers, welcome. Here's to another 5,000 and another Switch video likely coming next week. So, as always, guys, it's been so nice getting a hold of you. I release a new video every Tuesday. It's been so nice getting a hold of you. Take care.